Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes,
I can.
yes.
Yeah. Hi, Geeta. Do you want to start?
I think Aruna is going to give a small, brief introduction. Then afterwards, I'm going to take over from her.
Okay. Can you hear me? Good morning, everybody. Andarki namaskaramu. Na peru Aruna Ganti, NATS Vice Chairman ga unnanu prastham nenu. మీ అందరికీ వాళ్ళ సండే జాయిన్ అయినందుకు నా మనస్ఫూర్తిగా స్వాగతం పలుకుతున్నాను అందరికీను. నాట్స్ సంస్థ వీడియో చూశారు అందరూ, కానీ ఒక్క రెండు మాటలు చెప్తాను నాట్స్ గురించి. నాట్స్ 2009లో స్థాపించబడింది. నార్త్ అమెరికాలో ఉన్న తెలుగు వాళ్ళందరికీ ఒక అండగా ఉండే ఉద్దేశంతో ప్రారంభమైంది. భాషే రమ్యం సేవే గమ్యం అని అది వాళ్ళ నినాదము, మా నినాదము. సేవా కార్యక్రమాలలో ఎప్పుడు ముందు అడుగు వేస్తూ ఉంటుంది నాట్స్. అసలు ప్రప్రథమంగా ఒక హెల్ప్ లైన్ ఉండాలి మన తెలుగు వాళ్ళకి. నార్త్ అమెరికాలో ఉన్న తెలుగు వాళ్ళందరికీ ఒక హెల్ప్ లైన్ ఉండాలి. ఎప్పుడైనా ఎవరైనా ఎలాంటి బాధల్లో ఉన్నా ఒక ఫోన్ చేస్తే మనకి సహాయం అందుతుంది, సపోర్ట్ అందుతుంది అన్న ఉద్దేశంతో నాట్స్ ఫస్ట్ ఒక హెల్ప్ లైన్ క్రియేట్ చేసిందండి. 1888 ఫర్ తెలుగు. ఎవరైనా ఎక్కడైనా ఎలాంటి బాధల్లో ఉన్నా ఈ నంబర్కి కాల్ చేస్తే మా సపోర్ట్ టీం ఎప్పుడు రెడీగా సిద్ధంగా ఉంటుంది. చాలా మందికి ఒక అపోహ ఉందండి, ఇలాంటి నాట్స్ ఇలాంటి ఆర్గనైజేషన్స్ అన్ని 2 ఏళ్లకు ఒకసారి కలుస్తారు, ఒక కన్వెన్షన్ చేస్తారు, సినీ ఆర్టిస్ట్ ని తీసుకొస్తారు, ఆ తర్వాత అయిపోతుంది, ఇంకా దాని తర్వాత ఏడాది పొడంగా ఏం చేయరు అని ఒక ఐడియా ఉంది అనుకుంటాను. సో ఐ జస్ట్ వాంటెడ్ టు సే అది నిజం కాదు. ఏడాది ద హోల్ ఇయర్ కూడాను మాకు హెల్ప్ లైన్ ద్వారా మేము చాలా సపోర్ట్ చేస్తాము. ఇమిగ్రేషన్ కాదు, హెల్త్ క్యాంప్స్ కాదు, ట్రాజడీస్ అయినప్పుడు మన వీడియోలు చూశారు మీరు. వీ హెల్ప్ ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ ద బాడీస్ బ్యాక్ టు ఇండియా. ఇక్కడ ఉన్న సోషల్ కాజెస్ అలాంటి చాలా కాజెస్ చేస్తాం మేము. హెల్ప్ లైన్, మెడికల్ క్యాంప్స్ తో పాటు ఫుడ్ డ్రైవ్ కూడా చేస్తాము. నిన్ననే యాక్చువల్లీ వ్యాక్సిన్ డ్రైవ్ కూడా చేశాము, ఓన్లీ యెస్టర్డే ఇన్ న్యూ జెర్సీ, విచ్ వాజ్ అ బిగ్ సక్సెస్. సో ఇలాంటి సపోర్ట్ టీమ్ అండ్ హెల్ప్ లైన్ ద్వారా నేను డొమెస్టిక్ వైలెన్స్, డొమెస్టిక్ ఇష్యూస్ ని డీల్ చేస్తున్నాను ఆల్మోస్ట్ 10 years గా. ఏడాదికి కేసులు పెరుగుతున్నాయి. అసలు లాస్ట్ పాండమిక్ టైంలో అయితే కేసులు చాలా పెరిగాయి. we try to support them as much as we can. మీరు అందరూ యు ఆర్ నాట్ అలోన్ అని ఒక్కటి చెప్పడానికే ఈ ప్రోగ్రామ్ చేస్తున్నాం. అసలు విమెన్స్ ఎంపవర్మెంట్ సిరీస్ అని మీ అందరికీ అవేర్నెస్ తీసుకోవడానికి. మీరందరూ ఒక్కళ్ళు కాదు, మీ అందరికీ హెల్ప్ ఉంది, ఎలాంటి సపోర్ట్ ఉంది మీకు తెలియజేయడానికి ఈ చిన్న స్టెప్ మాది. ఐ హోప్ మీరందరూ విని ఒక అవగాహనతో you will go back knowing that there is help for everybody, and if you know anybody who needs help, please refer them to us. NATS సపోర్ట్ గ్రూప్ ఎప్పుడు ఉంటుంది, NATS హెల్ప్ లైన్ కి ఎప్పుడైనా కాల్ చేయొచ్చు అని తప్పకుండా చెప్పండి. ఇప్పుడు మానవి పూనం సక్సేనా గారు మాట్లాడతారు ఇవాళ. మానవి తో నా ప్రయాణం ఆల్మోస్ట్ 8-9 years నుంచి ఉంది. ఇలా నా డొమెస్టిక్ ఇష్యూస్ వచ్చినప్పుడల్లా మానవికి రిఫర్ చేస్తాను, వాళ్ళ సపోర్ట్ తీసుకుంటాము అని నా మాత్రానికే తెలుసు. బట్ ఐ వాంటెడ్ ఇట్ టు గో బియాండ్ మీ. మీ అందరికీ తెలియాలి ఇలాంటి సోషల్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్స్ ఉన్నాయి, కల్చర్ స్పెసిఫిక్ సోషల్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్స్ ఉన్నాయి అన్నమాట. ఎందుకంటే ఇక్కడ లోకల్ షెల్టర్స్ ఉంటాయి, మామూలుగా లోకల్ షెల్టర్స్ ఉంటాయి, వాళ్ళందరూ ఇంగ్లీష్ మాట్లాడతారు, మనకి కావాల్సిన పద్ధతిలో ఉండవు. వాళ్ళు ఉంటాయి, ఉండొచ్చు, మనకి నచ్చుతుంది, నచ్చద్దు. sometimes. So MANAVI లాంటివి సౌత్ ఏషియన్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్స్ కాబట్టి మన భాషలు మాట్లాడే వాలంటీర్స్ ఉంటారు. అందులో నేను కూడా ఒక వాలంటీర్నే ఒకప్పుడు. వాళ్ళకి అప్పుడప్పుడు ట్రాన్స్లేషన్ కావాలి, ఏ చిన్న సహాయమైనా మీరు చేయొచ్చు. This is also another incentive for all of you to join social organizations like MANAVI. మీరు జాయిన్ అయ్యి ఎలాంటి సహాయమైనా, చిన్న సహాయమైనా మీరు చేయొచ్చు. You don't have to think I cannot do big things. చిన్న చిన్న సహాయాలు చాలా దూరం వెళ్తాయి. So MANAVI has helped me a lot in this situation, and Poonam Saxena has very, very graciously agreed to join and give her information, very valuable information to share with all of us. And I'm very thankful for that. So next I will introduce Mana MC for today's show, Andi. Geeta Golapudi. Tanu India lo professional singer andi. She has been a professional singer in India for many, many years. She has worked with Telugu and Hindi directors. She has given stage shows with all of them. చెప్పాలంటే తను చక్రవర్తి గారితో దేవతలారా దీవించండి అనే చిత్రంలో అమ్మ ఒక బొమ్మ అని పాట కూడా పాడింది. This was way back when she was very little, but now she is here and she has taken up a different role of emceeing. She has emceed stage shows with Shankar Mahadevan and Sonu Nigam వాళ్ళ shows కూడా MC చేసింది. She has her own radio show now called Radio Dhoom USA. And it is my great honor and pleasure to introduce Geeta Golapudi.
Thank you, Aruna. Thanks for the intro. Andarki namaskaram. Welcome to this special show. ఎందుకంటే NATS ఆధ్వర్యంలో మానవి సహకారంతో సౌజన్యంతో ఈరోజు ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని మీ ముందరికి తీసుకొస్తున్నాము. ఎందుకంటే ఒక అవగాహన, ఒక అవేర్నెస్ తీసుకురావడానికి చాలా మందికి, అంటే మన తెలుగు కమ్యూనిటీలో చాలా మందికి మానవి అనే సంస్థ ఉందనే తెలియదు అసలు. ఎంతో మంది గురవుతున్నారు. సో ఈ డొమెస్టిక్ వైలెన్స్ అయినా సరే, దాని గృహ హింస అంటారు తెలుగులో, దానికి చాలా మంది గురవుతున్నారు. తెలీదు, ఎక్కడికి వెళ్ళాలో తెలీదు, ఎవరి సహాయం తీసుకోవాలో తెలీదు అందరికీ. అలాంటి తరుణంలో ఈ NATS ఇది క్రియేట్ చేశారు, హెల్ప్ లైన్ అనేది క్రియేట్ చేశారు. వారి ద్వారా మనం మానవిని సంప్రదించవచ్చు. అది వాళ్ళేమో మనకి ఎంతో చేతుని ఇస్తారు. అది కాకుండా ఎవరైతే సఫర్ అవుతున్నారో వాళ్ళకి ఒక ఆత్మస్థైర్యాన్ని కలిగించి, తర్వాత వాళ్ళకి ఆర్థికంగా కానీ లేకపోతే చట్టపరంగా కానీ ఏదైనా సరే వాళ్ళు ముందరకు వచ్చి మీ అందరికీ హెల్ప్ చేస్తారు. అది మాట. ఈరోజు ఇంకా నేను ఇంట్రడక్షన్స్ ఇవన్నీ అయ్యాయి కాబట్టి ఐ జస్ట్ వాంట్ టు ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ మన ముఖ్య అతిథి వాళ్ళ పూనం సక్సేనా గారిని ఈరోజు ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ చేయబోతున్నాను. ఆవిడ షీఈస్ బీన్ వర్కింగ్ విత్ మానవి పాస్ట్ 9 years యాజ్ అన్ అడ్వకేట్ అండ్ సేఫ్ హోమ్ కోఆర్డినేటర్, manage cases and all activities connected with survivors residing in Ashiana. Ashiana is located in New Jersey in the Middlesex County, if I'm wrong. Please correct me. And before she migrated to US in 2012, worked in Italian consulate in Milan, Italy, assisting the underserved Sikh population for several years. And she was a key liaison person for the North Indian population in and outside Milan, applying for work visas and any help with the documentations, etc. Not only that, since she was very fluent with the Punjabi, English, Hindi, of course, Italian, so she worked very closely with the local municipal authorities for background check-ins in India. Plus, she has a bachelor's in sociology and minor in psychology. And I'm really thankful. First of all, I want to thank for doing this. Poonamji, I want to know, how you started with MANAVI and what, inspired you to join the MANAVI. And we want to hear from you.
Thank you, Geeta. And thank you, Aruna. I actually, when I came back from Italy, I was looking for something meaningful to do. And my older daughter, Shireen, actually told me, she said there is a South Asian organization for women. And it is managed by a Bengali lady who I realized later was one of our founders. She said, I don't remember the name, but I want you to go and check and volunteer for them. And I happened to call them up and ask for when they were going to have a volunteer orientation. And I met the founders there. Coincidentally, the founders were there that day, and I started talking to them. And I can tell you that, talking to them was just so inspiring. They have dedicated their lives to this cause. And there is such a need. Unfortunately, there is such a need for, people with compassion, kindness, and, persistence to do this work, that there was no turning back. So I actually, they hired me right away, and I was actually supposed to volunteer. So as Geeta and Aruna, you said that, there is a need for volunteers because we as an organization, we are very small, and volunteers form an integral part of our work. And I want to give a shout out to Aruna. I called Aruna up at a time when we were in a little bit of difficulty, and she was so helpful with all her compassion and kindness. And I just want to mention that, because this is how we can do our work. When we can rely, because we needed Telugu, and we needed kindness and compassion combined with the language. And so to repeat myself, volunteers make up a very integral part of our work.
That's wonderful. And because majority of the Telugus, they don't know about anything about the MANAVI. So you have to explain us, how we can approach. Do you have any hotline, or is it only permitted to only New Jersey, or throughout US? So what are the benefits they get? I mean, not the benefits, I would call it, how they can approach you. What is the process,
So MANAVI is actually, and we'll cover some of this in our PowerPoint too, but MANAVI was actually founded in 1985 by these founders, and we are the pioneers in the US. There was no other South Asian women's organization at the time. And, MANAVI was put together for many different reasons. If you do want to volunteer, you can write to me, Poonam at manavi.org. We have a general email, manavi@manavi.org, and express your interest for volunteering. You can go on our website. We have a whole volunteer, button there, which will, help you download a form. You can fill that out and you can send it in, and eventually we will receive it. So there are mandatory trainings that we provide, only because this work requires a cultural orientation. It requires, for the people coming in to understand our mission and philosophy. And there is a MANAVI advocacy training. We do have a hotline. It is actually the number that is the office number that we use during the day, and it becomes a hotline at 6 p.m. at night to 9 a.m. in the morning. And it is managed by our hotline volunteers, who are really an integral part in keeping us available 24/7.
That's wonderful. So or you want to start with the presentation, then we can continue the conversation or the questions later on. I just want to మీకు క్లుప్తంగా ఇప్పుడు ప్రోగ్రామ్ గురించి చెప్తానండి. ఇప్పుడు మానవి దే గోయింగ్ టు, ఐ మీన్ దే హ్యావ్ సమ్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ ప్రెజెంటేషన్ విచ్ వీ విల్ వాచ్ షార్ట్లీ. దాని తర్వాత మనకి ఇంకొక ముఖ్య అతిథి ఉన్నారు. అంటే వాళ్ళ ఉనికిని మాత్రం మేము గుప్తంగా ఉంచదలుచుకున్నాము, ఎందుకంటే షీఈ్ అ సర్వైవర్. షీ ఈస్ గోయింగ్ టు టెల్ హర్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ విత్ NATS. ఎలా వాళ్ళకి తనకి ఎలా హెల్ప్ చేశారు, హౌ షీ కేమ్ అవుట్ ఆఫ్ ఇట్, ఎలా ఇప్పుడు తన జీవితాన్ని ఎలా లీడ్ చేస్తుంది, ఇవన్నీ తన మాటల్లోనే మనం విందాము. ఆఫ్టర్ Q&A, అంటే ఈ ప్రెజెంటేషన్ తర్వాత స్మాల్ Q&A ఉంటుంది. మీకు ఏమైనా ప్రశ్నలు కానీ, తర్వాత ఎలాంటి అనుమానాలు ఉన్నాను కూడాను మీరు మాకు షూట్ చేయొచ్చు. మేము పూనం గారిని అడుగుతాం మేము. దాని తర్వాత ఈ నాట్స్ సభ్యులు ఉన్నారు కొంతమంది. దాంట్లో లక్ష్మీ బొజ్జా గారు రాబోయే కార్యక్రమాల గురించి ఆవిడ కొంచెం మాట్లాడతారు. దాని తర్వాత వోట్ ఆఫ్ థాంక్స్. ఇది మాట క్లుప్తంగా మీకు చెప్తున్నాను నేను. ఇప్పుడు మానవి పూనమ్ జీ షీ ఈస్ గోయింగ్ టు స్టార్ట్ హర్ ప్రెజెంటేషన్. దెన్ ఆఫ్టర్వర్డ్స్ విల్ హావ్ ఎ Q&A.
Thank you so much, Geeta. So as it says, my name is Poonam Saxena. I'm an advocate and a transitional home coordinator.
I'm having a little difficulty hearing you. Actually, is it me or everybody?
All of us.
Yeah.
I'm also frozen. I cannot share my screen, unfortunately. I don't know why. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Move my screen.
కొంచెం మాకు ప్రసారంలో అంతరాయం అవుతోంది. కొంచెం మీరు ఓపికగా వేచి ఉంటారనేసి ఆశిస్తున్నాం మేము. ఇప్పుడు విన్నారు కదా మాన్వి
Okay.
That's good.
Okay, good. Yeah, okay, good. So we cover these countries. Basically, it's because most of our advocates speak the languages, and Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, and so on. So we are servicing several people, several categories. We have the South Asian immigrants, they are naturalized citizens, they are permanent residents, wives on a conditional green card, which is huge. And some of you may know the conditional green card is valid for 2 years. And I think this was an effort on part of the government to make sure that the marriage took place in good faith. Then there are temporary workers who are H1 and H4 visa holders, and H4 visa holders is the category that we have the most problem with, just because it's really becomes a very difficult situation for them to stay if the husband decides to pull support for the documentation. Second generation, those born in the US, we collaborate with Rutgers and other universities to spread awareness. So about MANAVI, MANAVI means woman in Sanskrit. We are based in New Brunswick, New Jersey. And we also have an office in Patterson where we service the Bangladesh community. What happened was many years ago, there were about 50,000 people from Bangladesh who were brought in by the diversity visa and were just basically dumped in Patterson with no infrastructure, with no support, nothing. And MANAVI was called in, and a number of organizations collaborated to provide that support. And the languages became very important because the only people in due course of time, only the kids were speaking in English, the very little kids, because they were picking up English in no time, but the families were still learning. So it became critical for our advocates to be on the ground, and we have an office there. The language is Bengali and Sylhet, because a number of them came from that part of, geographically of that part of the country. We are also, in the near future, we are opening up an office in Jersey City, again, because of the South Asian population and the density of the South Asian population in that area. So our mission is to end all forms of intimate partner violence in the South Asian community. I mean, we often say we want to sort of, go out of business, but it's unfortunate, it doesn't look like we're going to go out of business in the near future, just because intimate partner violence is so widely prevalent. It was established, as I said, in 1985 by 6 South Asian women, and these were the founders. And I've had the honor of meeting all of them, and they are just incredible women. In 1985, many of them were doing their PhDs, were doing their MBAs, or that whatever else they were all studying, and they recognized that there is a real need for representation for the South Asian woman. They were having they could see there were a lot of problems in court. where there were huge cultural gaps. And they gradually focused on domestic violence because there was a real need there. And it was really, to establish a voice for the South Asian immigrants in the United States. So MANAVI basically strives to provide direct services to survivors of violence and to spread awareness, to establish communities free from violence. Our services, as we talked earlier, Geeta, with you, we have a 24/7 hotline. It is the office line number during the day, which becomes the hotline in the evening, and our volunteers manage that hotline at night and on weekends. Crisis intervention, we get calls from everywhere, sometimes directly from the survivor, from the police, from a friend. Advocacy, culturally and linguistically specific counseling. We have sexual assault support services. We have an advocate who is dedicated to this. We have a very impressive legal advocacy program. We are constantly trying to do outreach and education to make the community aware of what exactly is domestic violence and what our services are. Economic empowerment, cultural humility training, transitional housing, and we will talk more about the transitional housing and the legal advocacy program in our next couple of slides. So Ashiana means nest in Urdu. It opened its doors in 1997. We are a culturally specific transitional home for women and children. So what does this mean? When we bring our survivors in, they feel most comfortable. We ask them exactly what they would like to eat, what spices they want, whether they can, they want to make their sambar, they want to make the idli, they want to make the parathas, who they want to pray to. They are extremely comfortable in Ashiana. We say we can accommodate up to 9 residents, and this is really, really pre-COVID. During COVID, a lot has changed as with us, and I'm sure you have noticed a lot of changes. So we try not to, put too many people in the rooms together. Sometimes they have to share a room, and really none of them really want to share a room, but unfortunately, we find that they don't necessarily want to go to another shelter. They want to come to Ashiana because of the culturally specific piece to it. But we are also finding that with COVID, we are going to be taking a slightly conservative approach till everybody is safe. And so we have, if it's a woman and her children, she would go into the larger room where there are many other, where there are several beds. So we provide culturally specific services, and we are really the only South Asian transitional home available on the East Coast to South Asian women. There have been a lot of success stories, I'm proud to say, that have come out of Ashiana, and I'll talk about one at this stage. I'll call her Seema at this point. She came in with 2 little children and tremendous domestic violence from the extended family in-laws. We could tell that she was not going to just sit around and say, what happened, why me? She was going to do something about it, and we encouraged her. We tried to find out what would she like to do. She started off with, she said, right now, all I know is how to cook. So we introduced her to people in the community where they would invite her over and she would cook, and she started saving money. So she was with us for about a couple of years and she saved money. The children started going to school. She got a job as a dispatcher in a trucking company, learned the business, did the math, figured out that she would start her own business. She bought 2 18-wheeler trucks. And mind you, each truck is about $1 million. And obviously she got, she took loans, but she did the math. And now she has 2. She started her own company. And the kids are going to college today and doing extremely well. And she also, I'm proud to say, has dedicated to her time, dedicates whatever time that she has to helping other members of the community. Legal advocacy is also a very important program at MANAVI. As you can imagine, help is needed for immigration and help is needed for family law. There are 2 different pieces altogether. And this emerged organically in 1997. And we provide culturally specific legal services. Many of our lawyers who give us time have a background in domestic violence, and many of them are South Asian, not all, many of them are South Asian. And we do what is called legal clinics. They are actually legal consultations where if a woman calls us and says, I need legal help, but I don't have the money. So, I need information. So there is a process to follow. We have legal forms. She fills out her information, which is all very, very highly confidential, by the way. It will only be shared between the advocate and the lawyer. And she fills out her questions. The lawyer will review it. We will set up a time that is mutually convenient. And the lawyer will answer those questions. It may take 20 minutes, it may take 30 minutes or whatever. And the same thing goes with family law. We have recently received a grant which has enabled us to have an in-house lawyer, which is a huge win-win for MANAVI as well as for our survivors, because all we have to do now is to pick up the phone and say, how do we do this? Or how does she do this? And introduce her to the attorney. Our other lawyers outside still remain very supportive of MANAVI, because there are always women who can afford a lawyer. And so we will do the referrals. So that's where the legal referrals come in. So our in-house lawyer is basically, we try to, she's so busy, you can imagine she's swamped with cases. And mostly we try to keep that for the women who cannot afford to pay any money. So court accompaniments are also a very integral part. This was, again, pre-COVID. For a woman to have her advocate with her, as support. We just don't tell her, okay, now you go to, you have a hearing, so go ahead, you see your lawyer. Then no, we would accompany the woman, for all the support that we could provide. And we conduct cultural trainings for court personnel, for judges, for lawyers, for clerks, and these are all very, very important trainings that we conduct. So a little bit on intersection of domestic and sexual violence. Some of you may know, domestic violence and violence is not just physical. There are many, many forms of violence. It could be physical, it could be mental, emotional, financial, sexual abuse, and they all intersect. So sexual violence can include rape, child sexual abuse, intimate partner violence, but there is also the use of fear, humiliation, misery, manipulation, and power in order to control the victim. It's not uncommon for a victim to be told, I'm going to have you deported, or I'm going to get the children and you're going to get nothing. Socialization about girls' safety focuses on stranger rape. And many times we find that, sometimes the home can be a dangerous place for a woman when it comes to an extended family and so on. The young girls are sometimes blamed for their own victimization as they are viewed as sexual. Why were you out so late? Why are you wearing tight clothes? You know, what were you doing talking to that boy? So, you know, these are some of the factors that, you know, we need to pay attention to, because it is part of the socialization that takes place as our girls grow older. So intersectionality, survivors have intersecting identities. Some of the work that was done on intersectionality by Kimberly Crenshaw just focused on race and gender, and that is really an incomplete work. We find that there are other intersecting identities which are based on not just race and gender, but it could be class, it could be sexuality, whether she's able-bodied or not, age, immigration. Intersecting forms of structural discrimination are based on race and gender, but there are other categories, and marginalized communities have a disproportionate experience of violence, and a lot of it comes from poverty, from you know, lack of education, lack of opportunity. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of barriers for the marginalized communities, you know, in seeking help. So it is critical to look at domestic violence from the lens of social justice and human rights, and consider intersecting identities of survivors. So it is not just as simple as race and gender. Some statistics, 1 in 4 women are raped by their husbands in their lifetime. I think in India, the Supreme Court does not even recognize marital rape. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have been victims of some sort of physical violence by an intimate partner within their lifetime. This has been a study. And then there's been another sample of 208 South Asian women that were recruited through community outreach by API on gender-based violence, and 21% reported having ever experienced physical or sexual abuse at the hands of their intimate partner. And 21%, I would like to point out, is probably a low number, because many of them don't want to talk about it. On an average, MANAVI helps at least 300 to 500 survivors. We definitely go up over 300, but that's the least number of women that we service in a year. So what does a victim look like? It's not written on anybody's forehead. Anyone, just anyone, can be a victim of abuse. I have been to dinners, to gatherings where I know that there must be some other women who are suffering and who are not saying anything. So domestic violence does not know a country, does not know a community. It is worldwide, and anyone can be a victim. So why doesn't the victim just leave? This is a question that is asked to us really often. If only, you know, they left the relationship and everything would be fine. And there are serious, serious issues with that. Because if she says that she is about to leave, her intention to leave the relationship, her risk for lethal violence increases multiple levels. So we need to be very careful to do safety planning, to talk to her, how she can, if she does want to leave, how she should do this. So the question is victim blaming, and implies that the abuse is the victim's problem, and she or he needs. So it really takes, sometimes an entire family is involved. Sometimes it's just the perpetrator is involved. There are many of our women say that, you know, oh, he's okay. He doesn't do anything, but my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law and my father-in-law, but we have to educate, and we have to make her aware that he is also complicit. He is watching what the rest of the family is doing, and he is complicit, and he is part of that violence. So ignoring that domestic violence is a crime. That is something that in this country, we recognize that domestic violence is a crime. And victims do leave, sometimes 7 times on an average, and the system fails or the victim gets caught in a cycle of abuse. And this reminds me of one of my cases where I got a call on a Sunday morning a few months back, and she said, I have 10 minutes. Poonam, I need you to get me out of this house. He's coming back in 10 minutes. I need to leave. This is a crisis. And fortunately, I was able to understand from her that she had a neighbor, an elderly neighbor who was home. I asked her to go to that neighbor and see if he could drop her off, if she trusted him, and if he could drop her off to a safe place, and then we could pick it up from there. This was I would say, the 7th or the 8th time that she left her home. And we know she was caught up in a cycle of abuse. So thankfully, the old neighbor was able to take her to a safe place. From there, I was able to arrange for an Uber. I booked a hotel for her where she stayed till she wanted to stay, and till she felt that, we could go on to the next steps. And as a volunteer, this is really for the volunteers, that before a victim leaves, we recommend that she or he contact an experienced DV professional to develop a safety plan. This is probably one of the most important key takeaways. So several barriers to seeking help. Cultural and religious background is huge. Many women say, it's in my culture. Let me be. I don't want to do anything about it, because there are a lot of pressures that come from the family, not just the in-laws, but also from her own family. There's a strong belief in fate. There is strict loyalties to family and culture, and sex and sexualities are often a taboo. And talking about this, it reminds me of this case. I'll call her D. D would call us up, every once a week or whatever. She was not getting food. She was not getting some basics, that she needed for hygiene. He was not letting her sleep at night. She had to, press his feet, massage his feet. He would not allow her to sleep at night. And there were many times when we asked her, would you like to come to Ashiana? What would you like to do? And she basically would say, you don't understand where I come from. My father, who is a widower, lives in this particular portion of the town, which is the most conservative community. And if they know that I'm even speaking to MANAVI, let alone that I have left my husband, my father will be ostracized from the community. I cannot do this. There is no question about leaving my husband's home, about divorce or anything. Sadly, he took a knife to her, and one day in an argument, he slashed her legs and her arms, and she ended up in hospital, but thankfully they were superficial wounds. She came to Ashiana, and then we started the legal cases with the restraining orders, and she got a final restraining order against him. But as we spoke to the police officer who arrested the perpetrator, her ex-husband, and he narrated what happened when he was taking him in the car. He was handcuffed, and he's sitting in the back of the car, and he said, what is it your business? Why are you arresting me? She's my wife. I can do anything to her. How do you come in? And the sheer entitlement of that conversation was actually mind-boggling. And he turned around and he said, no, sir, not in this country. He said, you cannot. Not that I'm saying that in this country there is justice served 100% of the time, but this was a conversation between the two of them. So I'm happy to say that Dee today, we were able to work with her. We were able to do her legal restraining orders, find her a permanent place for housing. She took up, a health aid course with us, but that's what she wanted to do. And we were able to raise money, and we funded that for her. And she is working, and she's doing well. Lack of information and resources is really big. For someone who is coming from back home, they have no idea of what the legal system is here, how to navigate it. Tremendous fear and distrust of legal authorities. As many of you know, back home, who calls the police? People don't really call the police for a domestic violence dispute, right? You call an elder, you call a member of the family, you do not. So when we tell them as part of the safety plan, call 911, it is really in shock where they say, how am I expected to call 911? And many times actually we get on the phone with them so that we can support them in the language, in what happened, and so on. Tremendous lack of evidence to prove abuse. Actually, sometimes the abuser knows the system. So there are no bruises or videos or any marks or anything that has happened. And that makes the case even more difficult, and which is the unfortunate part. Fluency in English and lack of knowledge about rights is another that is huge. I mean, people are not really listening to a brown woman who does not speak English. And today we have Language 9, we have, a lot of support, and our volunteers also are critical for something like this, because they provide the language support, and they also provide the one-on-one, the face-to-face connection. So legal residency status, immigration is used as a form of control. And this is a very big issue where it reminds me of a case, and I'll call her Kiran at this point. She would call us up and say that, he will not file for my legal status. And I have this terrible feeling that he wants me deported and he wants to take the children. So we started the process of the immigration, because she was entitled to it. He was a citizen. She should have. She had 2 children by that time, and it was a little bit difficult because she would not divorce him. She would not leave in spite of all the tremendous violence that was going on in the house. It gets a little bit harder when the victim is staying with the perpetrator to navigate the immigration tool, but we were trying nevertheless, except that an incident happened and he pulled out a knife and he took it to her throat in front of the children and called the police on her. Told the police that she had taken out the knife and she had threatened him in front of the children. Mm-hmm. The police give him a restraining order against her. Take the children to his house. And then she calls us again that this is what happened. My children have been taken away, and this is what he did, and he is accusing me of doing exactly what he did. For any of you who have little children or who don't even have little children are growing up, the little girl was 9 months old. And the agony of that child and the mother, you can just imagine. The little boy at that point was 3 or 4 years old. So we started the legal process. We called up different lawyers. A case was taken. A restraining order was filed against him as a counter. But more than that, there were so many other things that we needed to do to help this survivor, because he was trying to manipulate the system. And our executive director, Navneet Bala, was, a tremendous help, and she has a law background. We would call the public defender in the court, and we would say that this woman is a victim of domestic violence. we have been working with her for the past year, and this is the incident that happened, and the restraining order, he has taken the restraining order against her and manipulating the system. It took several calls and 4 months of court hearings. And when he came to know about MANAVI, Kiran tells us about the shock on his face. He had no idea that she was getting help from outside. And that was the first time that he heard, because he was ready to get a restraining order, file criminal charges on her, get her deported, take the children, and call it quits. And I shudder to think that if MANAVI was not there, and I don't know what would have happened. She would have probably been deported because, she just didn't know what was the next thing to do. So, so with volunteers, with lawyers, with all, they say it takes a village. When she finally got a restraining order after 4 months, and when the children came home, the daughter would not speak. There was so much trauma there for the last 4 months where she was deprived of being with her mother. And then a board member who was a psychologist clicked in and would talk to her every single day to give her coping skills. How do you deal with your children? We brought in speech therapists. There was a whole load of services that were provided to this survivor, and I'm happy to say that she's doing well now. So some of the barriers to seeking help, social pressures, huge social pressures, as we talked about, family pressures, community pressures. The insider and outsider distinction is important, because when a woman gets married into a family, she is really considered an outsider at the point. She has to prove that, she can become an insider, and that only happens after she has children, preferably sons, but definitely at least one son. And many of you may also know that if you are living in an extended family, there is a hierarchy. You have the father-in-law on the top, and then you may have the older son, and then you may have the mother-in-law, and then you may have the older sister-in-law, and then the unmarried sister-in-law, and the unmarried brother-in-law. And then our survivor, because she is new, is at the bottom of the totem pole. The ideology of a good wife and a mother, I think, is instilled in all our girls right from the beginning. And it reminds me of this father who was a doctor and who called us up, and he was, given my name from, somebody mutual. And he said, I'm a doctor, I'm retired. I have 2 daughters. One is a cardiologist and one is a dentist. And the dentist has her own practice. She makes over 6 figures, and she is suffering from domestic violence, and she does not want to leave. Where did I go wrong? What happened? I raised my daughters to be empowered, to be independent, to be educated. And here I have this daughter telling me that what will my children say if I leave? What will they say? That we come from a broken home? He said, I have the best lawyer ready. I have signed a retainer. We are waiting for her to come. I want you to do something. So not that we are convincing people to divorce or whatever, but there were many conversations that we had with his dentist. And I think what might have made some difference was, like, you are a mother, you have 2 children, you have a son and a daughter. What message are you giving to your son, that it is okay for a man to treat his woman like this, his wife like this? What message are you giving to your daughter, that it is okay for a woman to suffer from domestic violence and then she still stays? So in the end of the day, it was a lot of soul searching, and she did what she needed to do at that point, because we talked about many different things about, pattern of behavior, that it doesn't change. It may get better for a while, but it always comes back. And she was able to see that in her relationship and the cycle of violence, that how it can affect the children. Today it is with the father. Yesterday it was with his parents, because obviously he too has seen, violence in the family. It basically was a bias against divorce. The shame, the self, the family, and the community, how you lose face when you get divorced. A lot of guilt. This is a huge barrier, that you failed in your marital and family responsibilities. Fear of losing custody of children is also huge, because the perpetrator will say, I will take the children, which is really not possible in this country, because unless there is a huge violence associated with a particular parent, the judge more or less will make sure that the children are with both parents. So even though the primary caretaker may be the mother, and she may have the children from Monday to Friday, but the judge would make sure that they also spend time on the weekend with the father, just because they want the children to have a complete family life. Financial difficulties are huge. Sometimes a woman hasn't worked. She has not been allowed to work. She has never been allowed to even step out sometimes. Sometimes there is so much isolation that she doesn't even know where the next grocery store is, because she's never been allowed to step out. In fact, I was talking to a woman who was abandoned in India. And I said, can you give us, she said, I'm here. I came here with my family. A week later, I went to visit my parents. I came back to my in-laws' house, and they said, he's gone. He's taken the children and he's gone. And she's left abandoned. She has an H-4 visa, no passport. He's taken everything. There's no way that she can get out of the country because she doesn't have a visa anymore. And she's basically, that was kidnapping. He kidnapped the children and he left. So that was a huge case that eventually, when he did file for divorce, we came to know of his address and where it was and which state he was in. And we were able to connect with our sister agency in that state, and we collaborated and we worked together. We both raised funds for her lawyer's fees so that she would be able to see her children in the summer, at least, if not throughout the year, because she was there and he was here. There was a certain amount of alimony involved, because suddenly she was now with her 80-year-old retired father who could not support her. So the lawyer worked on providing some financial relief, and also making sure that the visitation of the children happens whenever it can. I think he's supposed to go a couple of times a year. It comes here so that the children basically have a full life and are able to experience both parents. The stigma of mental health is definitely another huge problem. As many of us in the community, we deny mental health. We deny that there could be a problem, or there could be a PTSD, or there is a trauma that has triggered on something. What we fail to also realize is that it can be treated. It's a chemical imbalance, and it can be treated. Yes, it could be connected to trauma. And many times the perpetrator will say, oh, she's insane. She needs to be committed, or she needs help, which many times is actually not true, and it is just trying to get a means to an end of getting what they want.
Yeah.
So how do you support someone? One of the most important things that we learn is don't be judgmental, because know that abuse can happen to any one of us. We should not re-victimize. that is very important. When somebody comes to us and talks to us, it's important for us to listen, not just with our ears, but also with our hearts. And in this work, it gets important. She may not want to leave, but we do not give ultimatums. We do not make decisions for them. We are giving them the tools to make a good decision, but we are not ever going to make a decision for them. And many of our survivors say, well, he's apologizing. He's saying, I'll never do this again, probably for the 50th time. So should I go back to him? So we cannot say, do not go back to him, or this is again, but we do explain that this is a pattern of behavior. How has it been in the past? What do you see that is happening again? And when they come to us, it's important that we offer concern and support. And, a simple question like, what do you need? They haven't been asked. Many of them have not been asked this question. What do you need? What can we do to help you? And many of them feel that they deserve what is happening. And that is all part of building their self-esteem and their confidence. And they need to know that when somebody is stalking them, making threats, or physically abusing them, mentally abusing, these are crimes that are punishable by law. No longer can, a perpetrator say, oh, I'll slash your throat. You cannot say that. That is a terroristic threat. And that is a serious crime punishable by law. And then in the end, it's important for them to be referred to, professional DV services, because we really are, we share resources, because that's what we need to do. We need to have the best resources that we can to give these women to move on, in their journey. So that brings me to the end of the PowerPoint. This is our phone number, 732-435-1414. The website is www.manavi.org. It has also a lot of information. So please feel free to contact us.
That's an excellent question, Poonamji. I have a couple of questions from your presentation. You said, one of the story you told us, the survivors, right? The doctor's family who was a dentist and all, right? From those kind of families, do you charge them any fee or anything? It's a voluntary work only, or do you expect any kind of donation from them? How does it work? I know that MANAVI is a not-for-profit, it's a non-profit organization, but where do you get the funds in order to pay safe house or whatever, for their food or whatever, the legal fees, whatever, where do you get the money?
Well, we are federally funded and state funded. And then we have you all, the community, because we do get, it's not enough. I will be honest with you. The federal and the state funds even are not enough. We always need money, and the community is huge in collecting funds for us. In fact, the other day I did a presentation with Rutgers, because they were doing a fundraising for MANAVI, and they were asking me, okay, where is this money going to go? And we had a whole list of where this money goes. And one of the things was that a woman wants to study, she needs a laptop and she needs a printer. She doesn't have a bed. She and her children are sleeping on the same bed, which is broken. And the mattress it's got holes in it. And under the bed, they have, these milk bottles, these gallons filled with water to support the bed. So guess what? We're going to buy her a new bed so that the children can be comfortable, that they can sleep comfortably. One of the survivors had an accident. So we did a GoFundMe campaign because she had little children and she could not take care of the children. So between volunteers and the GoFundMe campaign and people's donations, we were able to buy equipment where she could get specific hospital equipment, where she could sit in the tub and take a shower, where she could get a walker, where she could get a cane, where she could, whatever she needed that we could supply to her. So it's a combination of grants and community is vital. I will not deny that. The doctor who called, if he wanted to give a donation, it was up to him. I don't know whether he did. Many times people give donations and they don't want any name to be put there, and we are just grateful for their generosity.
And but majority of the people, they have misconception about the non-profit organization. Majority of these NGOs, whatever you call that, they take big chunk of management fees. Does MANAVI has any kind of those things? These.
No, we don't. No, no.
So I just want to clarify to the listeners.
Sure.
So
everything is free. Everything is free. Anyone can call. There are no fees charged. If she needs legal representation, and we can give her different resources, we do have our in-house lawyer, but if she has money, if she is earning a salary, then we would give her referrals, but she would pay her own legal fees. We cannot come in between the lawyer and the survivor. So that really is between them. We'll give her an idea of what it is, but that is something, like the other day, somebody asked me, so what could it go up to? It's hard to say what somebody's legal fees are going to go up to. There's a range from 5,000, 20,000 maybe, but it could be more or less depending on the perpetrator. How long is he going to contest this? Where is he going to take it to? How much money is involved? What is he trying to save? How much is he? Because sometimes the perpetrator will pay the lawyer $100,000, but will not pay the survivor. So those are some of the issues. But yes, coming back to your point, everything is free. Even Ashiana is free. I need to mention that. Ashiana, we pay for everything. There are no rent, no utilities, no food, nothing is paid for by the survivor. We pay for everything. And so that she can study if she wants, she can work if she wants, so that she can save enough money to move on to where she wants to be. So okay. Ashiana being a transitional home, it's different from a shelter because we are not an emergency shelter. So if there is an emergency and there's a high risk situation, most of the time we will advocate for her to go into an emergency shelter because we do not have that security. She may need more security because sometimes there are people looking for her. And we have to keep in mind that there are other residents living in Ashiana where their security may be jeopardized. So she may need, in an emergency situation where there's a crisis, she may need multiple layers of security. And there are emergency shelters out there.
But as you said, on the presentation, Ashiana can accommodate only 9 people. What if you have more,
We always have more.
No?
We always have more.
That's
so
what?
we never leave anyone homeless. Mm-hmm. We will always advocate for them at another sister agency, another shelter, but no one will be homeless.
Okay, I have a question here.
Yes.
Somebody, they want to know more information on sister agencies in different states. Depends, does not necessarily have credit history. It's a okay. People who doesn't have any credit history or anything, they're in different states. How are you going to help them? Do you have any sister companies? Or
we do have a sister agency. Actually, it's very simple these days. If you just Google South Asian Women's Organization, we are the first ones who come up. But according to every state has its own agency. And because the laws here are particular to that particular state, especially family law. So it's very important that the case is, looked after in that woman's state of where she is. Like if it's New Jersey, we cannot be taking on a case from California. There are 2 agencies over there that they would need to take depending on where she is located. And they as I said, that they have been modeled after MANAVI. They have a lot of resources. They many of them have the legal advocacy program, and they could help with lawyers, with credit history, and whatever the survivor may need.
But if someone calls from Florida to MANAVI, do you guide them?
Yes.
Do you tell them there is a sister agencies, please contact them?
Absolutely. We don't say, go Google it or whatever. We don't say that. We give them the information. We give them the phone numbers. We tell them if we actually need to call, we will call the sister agency and say, listen, I am sending, this person is going to call you, and this is what she needs, and this is what needs to be done. In fact, the other day, somebody called from Nebraska, and she did not speak the language. And so it meant, looking up all the resources. We actually did not, where she lived, we did not have a South Asian women's organization, but there was an organization for domestic violence, and there was a South Asian advocate there that we were able to locate. Mm-hmm. And so it's all about giving her the resources of making sure that she is handed and in safe hands, not just left. She needs to be actually given to someone who is going to look after her. So there was a time when we could not locate her. Actually, before that, we couldn't locate her. She wasn't picking up her phone, and we panicked. So what do? We called up 911 in the area. We looked up the police, called them up and said, listen, we need you to do a wellness check. She's alone in the house. Can you go and tell us how she is? So what had happened was she had left the phone off the hook and it had run out of battery. But at least we got to know that she was okay. We got to introduce her, like I said, to the sister organization with the South Asian advocate, and it was several weeks that we kept going back and forth to make sure that all her needs were met.
Okay. So my understanding is the MANAVI is only for New Jersey state, right? Yet the people, yes, victims, whoever reside in New Jersey state, what will happen if they are from New York, surrounding the neighboring states? What would you do? The same thing? You will guide them to contact the local agencies?
Yes. Like New York has a very big agency, Sakhi.
Okay.
So they will do exactly what we do. But because of the New York's laws, they are the ones who need to take up her case. And because she is residing in New York, that's how it would work. In New Jersey, no other sister agency would take up the case. We would. Where if it's Connecticut, it's somebody else. So this is how it works. But if we need to collaborate, we will always collaborate.
And one more thing I want to ask you, MANAVI calling 911 and all, right? So is MANAVI ever tried to collaborate with the local police departments by townships, that they are there to help the South Asian community? So did you ever try or, to collaborate with the police departments?
That's a very good question, Geeta. And we give a lot of trainings to law enforcement. We go into different towns, we go into different counties, and we give trainings. We give them our brochures. Many of the survivors who come actually are recommended by the police that they contact us. So it's a lot of it is about getting your name out there, getting our services out there, educating the people. And law enforcement is huge. It's critical that they understand what we do.
That's good. After, you create, you support them, whatever the legal issues, you'll take care of it. After, what will happen to that survivor, after? Is she come back and, does she do any voluntary work for MANAVI, or does she do anything, so?
Yes, we have survivors who come back and who want to be volunteers. And for many years, we've had them volunteer because they just feel they want to give back. And we have Ashiana volunteers. I remember this woman, a young woman, and she would tell me, she said, Poonam, I can't wait to have my own apartment. I want to, Ashiana is great, but I need my own apartment. And we're like, well, you're going to get it. You're going to do very well. And when she left Ashiana, she would call us up and she said, now I can't save any money. I have to pay so many bills. I have to pay for my rent, for my car, for my insurance, for my gas. I have so many. So, Ashiana provides, a very, very big support. And yes, and they do move on. And she, is one of our volunteers.
I think it's a similar question, only I got it again. Hold on 1 second. It's does manage connect to local South Asian organization, other organizations awareness about MANAVI? In fact, okay. Hold on 1 second. I'll ask them to be specific. I didn't get it. Okay, one more question I have, because you deal with a lot of trauma, this, whoever is the victims, they come with the trauma also, right? Do you involve any doctors, do you have any volunteers, so to take care of those patients?
We actually, have a therapist who works with MANAVI and our survivors for peer supportive counseling, when they want to just talk, when they, we are there for them. But when it's actually trauma centered, when it's, they could possibly need medication, then it has to go to a therapist. Or if they're going through a very difficult time, generally it is when they're about to leave, or when they're going through a divorce, and the husband, and even though it may be mutual, there is a lot of stress and anxiety and guilt and shaming that is going on. Then we just because we are very small also, then the therapist can probably do a better job at providing support and assistance, because we are also very small. We're only like 10 advocates, and so we rely on volunteers, on therapists, on it. Like they say, it takes a village.
I know. But not only the advocates, right? In this scenario, you need to have somebody on the board also, right? The psychologist or the psychiatrist or the counselors, so who have certified counselors, right? It's very essential to have, to treat them, to give that the strength, mental, the confidence also on them.
So we also collaborate with Samhaj, which is, South Asian Mental Health organization, and they're very well known, and Dr. Makhija runs a very good show. And we've had therapists that come from him, and actually for Ashiana for many, many years we've had that, where we've had therapists come in. We do not force we cannot force the residents to take therapy, but it is available if they want it. And many times they do, but sometimes, they don't want it. They don't have the time. They don't have, they feel, I want to move on. I don't want to talk about, this. So the choice is really theirs. The resources are here. We will provide whatever is needed, but we do not force anyone either to make a decision or to take therapy or to go to a lawyer. It is something, unless it is absolutely a crisis, then we may, recommend, okay, now that you have a restraining order, this is what you may need to do if you want to salvage the situation, So we leave it a lot to the woman, but, our philosophy is to make sure she has the information, she has the resources, and she then decides which way she wants to go.
Okay. That's good. I'm going to give a little introduction. I mean, I'm going to talk a little bit in Telugu right now, little pause. Hopefully, andariki ardhamavutund anukuntanu, andariki telisina bhashe idi English. ఆవిడ చాలా బాగా ఆన్సర్స్ ఇస్తున్నారు. ఇది కంప్లీట్లీ ఇట్స్ నాట్ ఫర్ ప్రాఫిట్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్. ఎవరికి ఎలాంటి కష్టం ఉన్నా కూడా మేము ఉన్నామంటూ వాళ్ళ ముందరకు వచ్చి కావాల్సిన అంటే లీగల్ పరంగా అంటే మానసికంగా కూడా వాళ్ళకి ఒత్తిడి ఉంటే కనుక అన్ని అంటే వాళ్ళకి చేయూతనిచ్చి వాళ్ళకి సహాయం చేకూర్చుస్తున్నారు వీళ్ళు. అది కాకుండా మనం అంటే ఇప్పుడు నాట్స్ చాలా మంచి అడుగు వేశారు. ఇప్పుడు ఇలాంటివి ఎన్నో కార్యక్రమాలు చేస్తున్నారు వాళ్ళు. మనం చూసాము ప్రెజెంటేషన్‌లో ఎంతెంత మంచి కార్యక్రమాలు చేస్తున్నారో. సో, అందరూ అంటే మీ చుట్టుపక్కల అంటే మీ ఇంటి చుట్టుపక్కల ఉన్న వాళ్ళు గానీ, ఉద్యోగ పరంగా గానీ చూస్తూ ఉంటాం, అబ్జర్వ్ చేస్తూ ఉంటాం. ఎవరికి ఎలాంటి కష్టం ఉన్నా కూడాను మనం క్వైట్‌గా ఊరుకోకుండాను అట్‌లీస్ట్ మనం చేసే సాయం ఒక నంబర్ ఇస్తే కనుక వాళ్ళ జీవితం మార్చొచ్చు మనం. ఎందుకంటే నాట్స్ వాళ్ళది హాట్‌లైన్ ఉంది. వాళ్ళది 188 ఫర్ తెలుగు అనేసి. వాళ్ళ ద్వారా ఏమవుతుందంటే వాళ్ళకి సహాయం అందుతుంది. నాట్స్ వాళ్ళు మనవిని కనుక్కునో లేకపోతే సమాజ్ అని ఇప్పుడు ఆవిడ ఇంకోటి కూడా చెప్పారు. అలాంటి వాళ్ళని ఆర్గనైజేషన్స్ కాంటాక్ట్ చేసి అంటే ఎవరైతే బాధితులు ఉన్నారో వాళ్ళకి సహాయాన్ని మాత్రం తప్పకుండా చేకూరుస్తారు. అందుకని సంకోచించకుండా ఎవ్వరు ఇలా స్టిగ్మా అనేసి, టాబూ అనేసి బాధపడకుండాను మనకున్న ప్రాబ్లమ్ ఏంటంటే మన తెలుగు వారికో లేకపోతే మన ఇండియన్స్‌కో ఉన్నది ఏంటంటే ప్రాబ్లమ్ నామోషి. ఫస్ట్ ఏంటంటే మన కష్టాలు ఎవరికైనా చెప్పుకోవాలనుకుంటే కనుక నామోషి పడతాం మనం. ఏమైనా తక్కువైపోతామేమో సోషల్‌గాను. అంటే మన సోషల్ లైఫ్‌లో మన కష్టాలు చెప్పుకుంటే మనం లోకు అవుతాం అనేసి ఒక భయం ఉంటుందని. ఆ భయాలన్నీ వదిలేసి మీకు కష్టం ఉన్నప్పుడు ఇది మన జీవితం. మన జీవితం మన చేతుల్లోనే ఉంటుంది కాబట్టి మనమే తీర్చిదిద్దుకోవాలి. ఎవ్వరు మన వెనక్కి రారు. మనం ఏ కష్టాలున్నా దానిలోంచి బయటికొచ్చి ఇలాంటి ఆర్గనైజేషన్స్ చాలా ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి వాళ్ళ సహాయం తీసుకొని మీ లైఫ్‌ని మీరు చక్కగా చక్కదిద్దుకోవచ్చు. అది మాట. ఇంకా ఇప్పుడు అరుణ ఇది అమ్ములు గారు రెడీగా ఉన్నారా?
షీ జాయిన్ అయితే చూద్దాము.
మనందరి చెప్పినట్టు ఆవిడ సర్వైవర్ ఉంది కాబట్టి ఆవిడ కథను కూడా మనం వీళ్ళ శ్రోతలకి మనం అంటే అందరికి ఒక లాంటి ధైర్యం కూడా వస్తుంది. ఇలా చేస్తున్నారు నిజంగా అనేసి ఒక నమ్మకం కూడా కుదురుతుంది అందరికి.
Well said, Geeta. Very well said.
థ్యాంక్స్ అండి. థ్యాంక్ యూ. అది ఏం లేదు, ఇది ఒక చిన్న ప్రయాస అంతే. దట్స్ ఆల్. మనం చేయగలుగుతున్నది ఏంటంటే కనుక ఇది రీచ్ అవుట్, ఒక అవేర్నెస్, ఒక అవగాహన తీసుకురావడానికి. ఎందుకంటే చాలా మందికి మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద Telugu people they don't know anything about the Manvi, you know. So right now she said also in her Poonam ji, you know, she was saying that there is another one, Samaj. Somebody is organizing Samaj to give the counseling and you know, therapies and extra. You know, these are the stuff I don't know personally, frankly speaking. I knew about MANAVI that they're doing, you know, they're helping the victims of the domestic violence and all, you know, but not in detail. With her presentation, now I know what they're doing. I didn't even know that, you know, they had a safe house also, you know. So, Poonam ji, if anybody wants to donate anything, you know, how do they want to do it? You know, how, regardless of volunteering, you know, people are so busy in their own lives, right? You know, with
Yes.
the jobs or whatever, they have so many stresses in their life. You know, if they want to do any monetary or to give some kind of groceries or anything to the Ashiana, can they do that?
Yes, they can.
Okay. I cannot hear Poonam ji again. It went into mute or what?
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. The easiest way is to, if you go on the website, there is a donate button. All you have to do is to click on it and you know, fill in the information. We've tried to make it as simple as possible. So, you know, that is probably the quickest way to do it. If you prefer to send a check to MANAVI, you can make it out to MANAVI and you can send it to this PO Box 3103 in New Brunswick. That is also completely your choice. We are going to have a fundraiser in December, and those dates are going to be coming up pretty soon. Please like our MANAVI South Asian Women's Organization on Facebook, because you know, the event will go live on MANAVI. That is month of giving. We have yet to decide on the dates. But that you know, last year it was critical, you know, during COVID. You know, we needed funds, you know, because there were so many additional layers that we needed to take care of, you know.
Yeah. But you, my question is to you is...
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
This is Amalu. I'm also on the call. Just letting you guys know.
1 minute, Amulu Garu.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just letting you know, madam. That's I'm in the call. Thank you.
My question to you, Poonamji, you just take the monetary only, right? For example, if somebody wants to donate some kind of rice or beans or pastas, whatever, some organization, so they like to donate that way also. Do you take anything like that for the Ashiana, for your safe home?
Yes, we do. You would coordinate, with us, because obviously we need to keep a tab on, what we have. We need to take an inventory and make sure that we are not underdoing one item and overdoing some others, So yes, we get a lot of donations in kind also. And, sometimes, like during the holidays, people ask us what we can do. You can also give gift certificates to women, because when they are interviewing and going, looking for a job, they do need outfits for, for an interview, for example. So the gift certificates are also very, very helpful, and you can give them on Diwali, you can give them on on New Year's, whichever. You can give it for Target or for Macy, whichever you prefer. You can do it in kind. We get a lot of donations for clothes. Unfortunately, our women can't really use too many Indian clothes, because, they need clothes to go to work. And, like 1 or 2 Indian outfits, yes, maybe, but, that's not the priority, their priority. So, which is why I emphasize, like gift certificates, and yes, food, we can talk about food.
Yes, because you have a safe house for everybody to accommodate them. You need the food also, right?
Yes.
Easy for them to donate that way also. Okay, now we have a survivor. Ante NATS ద్వారా ఎవరైతే సహాయాన్ని పొందారో ఆవిడ మనతో ఉన్నారు. ఎందుకంటే వైవాహిక జీవితంలో అంటే ఎలా చెప్పను అంటే అఘాయిత్యాలను కానీ అత్యాచారాలని ఫేస్ చేసి తర్వాత నాట్స్ని సంప్రదించి దాంట్లోంచి బయటపడిన ఒక మహిళ. ఆవిడ ఉనికిని మేము గుప్తంగానే ఉంచుతున్నాము. రైట్ నౌ వీఆర్ కాలింగ్ హర్ అమ్ములు. వెల్కమ్ అమ్ములు గారు, వచ్చినందుకు చాలా థ్యాంక్ యూ, మీకు ధన్యవాదాలు. సో మీ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ మీ మాటల ద్వారా విందామనేసి మేము ఆశిస్తున్నాం.
Okay. Hi. I just don't want to enclose my name. I'm so sorry, guys. Extremely sorry, but really I am so thankful for NATS people for helping me. It's just not a single word like help. If there is something else, it is applicable to especially, I mean, like it is included for NATS and especially to Arnamma. Without her, I'm nothing. I'm zero here in this USA finally, like right now. And it's like so many, I just, actually, I don't know what is NATS or like anything like Tana, NATS or anything. I'm not aware of all this. I'm just married in 2015 and I came here on a green card, but it's like what is called as a conditional green card because I'm being married to a citizen. Due to some reasons, like before they used to give us a 10 years green card, but right now all the rules and regulations has been changed in the immigration and they had given a conditional green card. It means that if the marriage after 2 years, if both the wife and husband are living together, and they will extend that green card and remove the conditions, and it's for a 10 years green card. But when I'm married, after marriage for 1 year, I was in India still, just because he wants me to bring through green card here. That is the only process I have it. And though I'm in India, not only me, especially my parents went through so many complications, but still we thought, okay, fine. After I go there, it will settle down, we were thinking. But no, it went to worst and extreme worst. And after I just got married and they started making a catering business in the home here in USA. And if they open a restaurant outside, they have to pay like all the taxes or the rent or whatever it is. That is the reason they started making a catering business inside the home, like it's nothing a named catering, so that all the people can come and pay money, like dollars, and take the food like that. So on one strong fine day, after like 6 months, 7 months, all the people around the location, because we people Indian live in Indian community. Many Indian peoples are here. That is a reason, and one fine reason they came to know, and they stopped that business also. So, and many obligations, like I'm finally literally like a slave. Worse than a slave. If there is a word like that, it is applicable to me. From morning 3 o'clock, they used to wake up just for the cooking, cutting, and there is no dishwashers. Late night 10:30. All I used to have a break is just like to take a 5-minute shower. Even there is limitations for taking shower too, like not more than 10 minutes. So like I can't explain in detail, like worst to worst, I went through many, like I don't even like whatever they tell me to eat, I have to eat. And we never used to go anywhere out because my mother-in-law used to be with us. So wherever I go, she accompanies me. Like all I used to go is just for the fresh farms, Costco, only 3 or 4 locations. That's it. Nothing else. Like though I'm a BE graduate, here I was like, since I came to USA, how do I tell? Like they don't want me to expose to people because I'll be learning much. So, but right now, when I was in India, I used to work for TCS company, and my parents used to tell, like both my parents are bank employees in India. Right now they are retired. And so my mom always tells, you don't even worry about her. She knows top to bottom. She does everything. I know she knows to drive the car. She knows to drive the vehicle. She'll take care of all my house, everything. Finally, if my daughter is not with us, we are like, both wife and husband are with no hands and no legs. Means I took care of them like that. So he came to know that, okay, if I give powers or whatever it is, I don't know. He never makes me to be alone with his friends, wives, or anything, because they'll be teaching me or I'll be learning or whatever it is, the scenario. Every time her mother-in-law accompanies me. If I go to any potluck also, she always bees with me. She never, ever, ever leave me alone. Maybe in the restroom, maybe I'm alone. So things went so bad, and they were not talking with me. They don't know what am I eating. And one fine day, they used to tell like, okay, even for the phone, especially my parents asked only 2 things before getting married is, okay, this is the first time we are sending our daughter to USA. So maybe he was telling us like, oh, uncle, I'll be coming only every 3 years once, 2 years once. Okay, fine. We don't mind for that. But for the first year, just try to send her. And after that, if the expenses are more for the flight, send her every 2 years once or 3 years once. But for the first 1 year, we are asking, just send one time. After that, it is up to you. Every 2 years or 3 years, it depends on you. And another request my parents requested is, we want to talk to our daughter daily. At least like not like half an hour, 10 minutes, like at least like 5 minutes, like, hi, how are you? Okay, you are good, like that. That's it. This is the only 2 conditions my father asked, and he said yes, and we went through. And here I don't have any relatives or friends much. And so maybe that is the reason we didn't even inquire much, or we didn't get much information about him or his nature or something. All they saw is, okay, he's a good guy and he's working in a good company. That's it. Hope you guys are able to hear me.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Okay, fine. Oh, sorry. So that is the only 3 things. And main thing was, he never allows me to call alone, like with my mom or with with my mom, with my dad, and with my brother. Everything is, whenever I make a call, his mother should be there in the hall. I have to talk in front of her. Or situations went like every Sunday only I have to talk, and that too with the speaker.
Yeah.
So it's like, I was like, hi, how are you, daddy? Okay, that's it. there is no third answer from my mouth. And things went so bad. Like one day, my father wants to talk to me because he was going for some Delhi for something, for some office work, and he was telling like, okay, due to roaming, you may not reach me. Just call me before I get into the train, because there are so many employees. I cannot talk in the train because we don't want to expose what's going on here. I said okay, and that day he didn't even give me the phone. And then that day I decided, okay, fine. If you're not giving me the phone to talk to my dad, if I don't talk now, I can't even talk to him for the next 5 days. He's like, no, because yesterday you talked to the phone and today what is there to talk? Then I said, okay, fine. If you're not going to give me the phone, I'll just pack my luggage and I'll go away to India. I don't want this kind of harassment from you. I told, like, I'll just walk away. My suitcases are ready. I'll just walk away out of the house and I'll sit outside the house if you're not going to give me the phone. And I don't know what his mother convinced, and she gave me the phone and I was talking just for 2 minutes. That's it. I didn't talk much because I don't want him to get upset. And the next day morning, he was like, okay, you're ready to pack the luggage, right? Okay, you can go to India. And from that day, he started like, sign the papers and go away to India. The conditions are, I should not call him, or I should not call his parents. His father is in India, so I should not call him. I should not talk to anyone. And he'll bring me back only when he wants me. Like whenever he wants, he can keep changing the rules and regulations. And he started, okay. And like every time whenever I, like, only thing he takes me to Costco or like Fresh Farms, I'm like, okay, fine. I'm not going to come. Okay, you should not sit in the home. If you're not coming to Costco, you have to sit outside the home. And there are days, like I live in a cold country. I don't want to mention the name of the place. Okay, I live in a cold place where it is like very cold. He made me sit outside the house for 3.5 hours, and they went for Fresh Farms, Costco. And by the time my body got chilled up, and next day I was suffering with high fever. Later on, things went like this, and he was not talking to me. And he went to some like Russia or something for some office work. I was not even aware that he was not in the home also. Only thing I came to know, because of course, since the car is in the garage, of course, it means that he's not there in the home. And they were like, okay, since you're not cooking or not helping my mom, you have to cook your own food. And when I used to cook my food and I used to keep in one box, she wants to make sure whether I am eating something which she cooked or not. All the way she'll come from the basement to check me in the kitchen when she find me walking. Obviously, when they are in the basement, they'll know who is walking in the upper store. So like they were giving me pressure, like I have to go to India. You have to sign the papers. And he made an agreement, like 5 or 6 pages agreement, like you should not call me or call my parents. And I will bring you back only when I feel. That there is no time limit when I'm going to bring you. Means this is like he wants to give me divorce. And since it is a conditional 2 years green card, so if I don't come back in those 2 years, already 1 year passed. So for the next year, if I don't come back, obviously my green card will not be extended, and I'll be in India, and he can marry here one more girl. I think that is the reason he was giving me stressed out, because the conditional green card is up to 2 years, and after 1.5 years or like 1 year, 8 months, you have to put the renewal application. Obviously, he has to keep it if I'm in his home. Like later, I came to know all this. So I was like, no, I'm not going anywhere. Like, because one of my neighbor, I used to call her Akka, sister. She's an Indian. Like how Arna Amma helped me, that Akka is everything to me, like more than a mother. today I am here is like, she always thinks she has 2 kids, but she feels like I'm also a kid to her. Their family is like everything. Today, I have a house, means I rent a house. I have a car. I'm doing a job, IT job, and a part-time job is all because of all these people. Nothing else. And she was like, oh no, you're not going to sign any deal. And every day I used to go and sit in the park because I don't know what's going on, how to start. And one day my father contacted his dad, who is in India, and told like, oh, kids are going on through this. By seeing you, sir, I gave my daughter, and my daughter is suffering there so badly. I know you don't know nothing, but I don't want to blame you for that. Can you just save my child? And I don't know. He said like, sir, give me 2 days. I don't know nothing what's going on there, sir. No one tells me anything, sir. Even Papa calls me, but she never tells me anything. All she'll ask is, oh, how is your health? Are you fine? Like, that's it. Nothing else. All these days, she never even told me. Okay. And I guess he called his son, and his son is like, okay, just stay away from all this, he might have told. And later on, he stopped. His dad started ignoring even my dad's call. So we lost hope even in that. And this sister who saved me told me like, no, you are not going to sign any divorce paper, no matter whatever it is. And very worst condition is even I don't even have a phone to talk to anyone. I don't have a phone. Like, I don't know whom to call. Like, I don't have any phone. So finally they used to live side of my house, like maybe 4 or 5 after that. So I used to walk and go, and in the walking, I used to go and sit there in the park. Whenever she comes, I used to tell like, okay, what's going on, like this. One fine day, there is no rice or nothing when he went to Russia. And obviously I have to go to someone's house to eat some rice. And I used to go there to their house and eat. I felt bad, like, we are well off in India, like I'm like a beggar here just for the food material, I felt. Then she was like, she guided me, no, this will not work out. Okay, just go for some part-time job. And I just went for some math coaching center. So I used to go and teach math there. With that money, I started eating. Like, I completely stopped cooking in their house, and I used to eat there somewhere outside, like one burger or some sandwich or I used to drink one juice and fill my stomach like that. And this sister, every 2 days once, she used to go take to her house, and I'll eat there in their house one dinner and come. Where I used to go for the math coaching center, those people suggested me, oh, there is a NATS like this, you'll get help from them. And since I don't have phone, she's aware of it. She used to she gave her store keys, I mean the coaching center keys, and she told me like, whenever you want, come here, take my landline and call and fix all your issues. I guess someone will help you for sure. At that time, when I called the NATS, it was Nagendra Garu who answered the call, and I told like all this. Then he said like, oh no, Amma, I'll be connecting you to Aruna Garu. She's the Women's Association, and she will help you, and you can tell your problems to her, mostly 90% to her. I said, like, I don't have phone, brother. What do you want me to do? Okay, like, whose phone is this? Like this. Okay, what time are you working? He took all my details, like my working timings, and he called me at that time. And that is the first time I spoke to Arna Amma. And from there, she started moving me. Only thing is, they hid my green card also. And Arnamma told me like, oh, this is not correct. Okay, first take all your certificates, all your passports, all your green card, and keep it in this coaching center. Ask them and keep it in that coaching center first. That is very most you have to do that, because if they take away the green card forever, you will be into trouble. Then she gave me a shelf in there, and I used to hide everything in that shelf, and the store keys obviously is with me. So I used to save my important documents, everything in her learning center.
Mm.
But after that, since I don't have phone, I could not reach Arnamma later. But later on, what happened is one fine day I came out of the house and I started living in a paying guest, started doing some part-time jobs because he gave me a divorce notice. He didn't give him. Some register came one fine morning around like 5:30 and he knocked the door, I guess. And when I was sleeping in the room, basement, and things went so bad, like he said like, oh, you should not sleep in the bedroom. You have to go to the basement. And I used to sleep in the basement on the empty basement, like with nothing, just on the bare basement. So then once I started earning some like $1,000, $1,500, I started moving out. And my sister, who's like, she's not my own sister, the sister who is taking care of me, she started searching one paying guest where I moved there. And then I started working day and night. Like morning, I used to go at 6 o'clock and come at night, 10 o'clock, like 3 part-time jobs. Later on, I moved. I just went to my IT job finally. And Amma helped me so much. And she gave me an extension letter. Like, means I filed out through the actually, I met one lawyer. His name is Michael Curran. Really, like, I took so much hard time to get one attorney because I could not afford a lawyer for more money. But luckily, I got one lawyer just for the immigration, but just to think about my green card, what's the next step? Because many people suggested like, oh no, your green card cannot be extended. Your green card cannot be extended. Because I spoke even to one attorney in NATS. I don't remember his name suddenly. Oh, Praveen Garu.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. Praveen Garu. Yeah. Praveen Garu. He said like, no, ma, this will not work out, I guess. But you can try once. There is 50-50 chances. When he spoke to me, I was like, okay, let's see how much I can do. I will do my level best, remaining it's God luck. And when Praveen Garu spoke like that, I lost my life. I thought, okay, let me try one more chance in a different way. And then I started searching for attorneys, because even one appointment attorney is like per hour, it is $250, which is I cannot even afford at that moment of time. And I got one attorney. His name is Michael Kern. Really, I always think like, though I have so many problems in my life, every step I moved, I got a good person in my life, like Arnamma, my sister, this attorney, whoever it is. Even Apnagar in India, I mean, like in my place, I just emailed them because my sister suggested only Apnagar. No one knows NATS will help or Tana will help or something until this learning madam told me. She has a friend in NATS. His name is Anil Garu, I guess. Anil Vemuri or something. I'm not sure, like exactly. So she suggested me, and she called Anil Garu, and Anil Garu gave Nagendra Garu number. And then I just got all these people numbers and contacts with me. And this attorney, when I hired, he said like, no, who told you like your green card cannot be extended? Okay. When he gave divorce notice, one thing I did good was I was planning like, okay, let me not go and give like, if you within 30 days, if you don't respond to the divorce notice, he can get more chances to get the divorce immediately. Because I don't know where is this court, how to go. Even I don't know, frankly, I don't know what is Uber app also. Like I am in like a jail. So I don't know nothing. And since I don't have phone, I don't know what is this USA life or how it works, how a girl can survive. And finally, I started learning from my friends like, oh no, there is a Uber app you can download. And then I started downloading. Went within like, luckily, since I pray to God, maybe God saved me. I always think that within 2 days, if I don't give him a reply, he might have won the case. just within 2 days. Suddenly, one of my friend who is in Washington DC, he's like, "Oh no, just shut up and just go and give him a written notice in the court and just tell that you are unemployed and you need not even pay money. There is $112. Since I don't have job, they didn't even take that court, didn't charge me that $112." So I went and returned like, okay, I am going to fight with you. Like that, there is a letter, something. He prepared everything letter for me. And all he's just send me through emails. And I used to go there. There is a library side of the court. And I used to take printouts there. It is free of cost. Like he guided me, even including library. It is free like that. Frankly, I don't know nothing. And he moved my steps, everything in the court. Once I started filing, he was shocked enough, like, how come this girl is coming to the court and doing all this? And first hearing I went, second hearing I went, third hearing I went, fourth hearing I did not go because every time I go for a court date and come, it's like $100 for all the charges to and fro. $120, which I cannot even afford. Okay, one hearing I did not go. Fourth hearing, finally I got this attorney. He's like, first let me start your divorce, then let me think about your immigration. I was like, no sir, I don't want any divorce help. I want my immigration. He was like, no, you are not aware what is going on in your things. If you don't if I don't file your divorce and win your divorce case, I cannot even win your immigration. All you want is your green card, right? I said, yes sir, just give me your file and close your eyes. I'll give you a green card in your hand. And he charged me $2,800 for my green card. Not even a single day. He called me for my money. Oh, you have to pay me this much, honey. No. Whenever I used to have like 200, 300, 200, 300, I paid him all his $2,800. Not even one day. But he filed my divorce. The reason is, if you don't file the divorce and win the case, like alimony, which is called as like, I got some $15,000. If I don't get that, the reason is he did not marry improper. Then immigration, he cannot prove to the immigration that they are legally married or like just for time pass or just for green card. There are something like before, it seems like I'm not aware. Just for green card, they used to marry people, and just after green card, they got it, they get divorced. It's not like that. It's a real marriage because we have a wedding card, photos, and everything, all the people, everything. To prove that, we took that $15,000, and with that, we won the green card immigration too. I got my green card for 2030. And right now, I applied even for citizenship, just waiting for my interview date. And Arnamma, she helped me so much. Like, means when the attorney wanted some immigration letter, like to prove a third person like that, Arnamma gave me NATS letter. And however the attorney wants. And one fine day, she like, okay, tomorrow morning we need it. So sad of Amma. She drove somewhere for like 1 hour journey and made a speed post wherein the letter came us to our office just in the morning, 10 o'clock mail. So much means so much. And this is the first time I'm seeing her in the video call. Really, I didn't see her anytime.
Yeah.
Really, Amma, chala thanks, Amma.
Oh, ఏమనద్దు. That's the least I could do.
Story.
నువ్వు చెప్పిన దాని తర్వాత నేను చేసింది చాలా తక్కువ.
అమ్మ అట్లా అనకండి అమ్మా, మీరందరూ లేకపోతే నేను ఇవాళ లేనమ్మా.
అంత నీ అంతటా నువ్వు చాలా చేసుకున్నావు. మేము చేసింది ఉన్నాము, అక్కడ సహాయానికి ఉన్నాము, మాట సహాయానికి ఉన్నాము, చేసింది చేసాము. బట్ ధైర్యం తెచ్చుకుని ముందుకెళ్ళింది, సాగింది, అంతా పడింది నువ్వు కదా.
అమ్మా, కానీ ఆ టైంలో గైడ్ చేసేవాళ్ళు అంటూ ఒకళ్ళు ఉండాలి కదమ్మా ప్రతి ఒక్కరి జీవితంలో.
చాలా చాలా
అది మీరు ఉన్నారమ్మా.
కుటుంబ సభ్యులు లేనప్పుడు చాలా కష్టం అవుతుంది. అది చాలా
ఆ ధైర్యం ఇచ్చారమ్మా వాళ్ళు. అమ్మ అట్లనే ఇచ్చేవాళ్ళు పాపం. letter kavali ani attorney adik. Okay, so actually when I applied green card, I got a query like, oh, we need some more proofs. So the attorney was, honey, now it's your turn to work hard. If you don't give me any proofs, I cannot win this case. Just keep your job aside and just work on this. I don't know, because since I don't have phone, I don't have any proof what happened in the house, or I don't have any photos. He's very smart enough. Like when we went to Florida also, I don't even have 1 or 2 photos. I just had, that's it. I don't have any proofs to show what I went inside the house. Like one day they went to Costco, they kept a camera inside the dining hall, making sure like whether I'm eating their food or what. It's like something like I didn't born like this. I didn't brought up like this. I had a very good life. Is it like I can't go and survive in India? No. The thing here is I felt like I should teach a lesson to him. Like without him, my life is not zero. I can survive. I can win the green card. Means that kind of motto suddenly came off to me. I don't know why. Means maybe because all these people. And when I got a query, first thing is like that Akka's husband. Hey Nora, your Akka will come. Just forget about that. Those people are like, if I ask their house, they'll write their house and give to me. Such like over good-hearted people. I always tease her even now, like, oh, mine's like when I go to their house every weekend, they'll be like, for the next 2 days, they'll pack the food and they'll give me.
Amalu,
And I always...
Poonam, I have a question for you. Now you heard her story, right? You must have come across these kind of stories or the experiences, right? Is there any law, like in India, they passed a law, right, for the domestic abuse or whatever, right? Is there any law here in US to protect the ladies, whoever is suffering like this, especially for the immigrants?
Well, unfortunately, Amalu has suffered a lot from, isolation and, being kept in the house and whatever. It's domestic violence. It is a crime. Okay, there is no question about it. But you need, like Amula just said, that I don't have any evidence, right? I don't, it's very evidence-based. I mean, that's the for lack of a better word, that's the craziness of this is, does a woman need to be hurt physically so that she can show that she has, scars and bruises and she has cuts? Only then will the law believe her? Or is, there are so many other ways of, domestic violence that are going on and abuse that are going on. One of the top, which she has mentioned, is isolation. They would leave her outside the house. I mean, that is, it should be criminal, but, unfortunately, there are, we are not there yet, but, hopefully we will get there. I really
urge.
Okay, can I talk?
Yes, of course, Amalu. Yes.
Okay, I'm so sorry to interrupt you guys. So here the thing is, I respect the immigration laws, but there are like, okay, what about my situation? You guys are asking like, you want proofs. There is like, there is no phone for me, and I can't even go for a side house. If I go for a walk, my mother-in-law will be joining. She never allows me to talk to anyone. I cannot even express. And these people are very smart. They didn't even beat me. Then how do I show all these proofs? Means like my physical problem is like inside the house of the 4 walls. How do I prove it? If I don't have it proofs, like means like if I get out of this, like means if I keep calm, there is one more girl, right? The reason why we fight it is, if I don't fight now, there is one more woman who is going to suffer like this. Am I correct or not? And he's very smart enough. Okay, you guys can hear me? I'm so sorry.
Yes, we are.
Okay. So he's so smart enough. He didn't even post any in the Facebook any photo. So how do a woman like this can prove enough?
That is the problem. Endukante we come to this country with good faith, right? మన సిస్టంలో ఉన్న ఫెయిత్తో మనం ఇక్కడికి వస్తాము. మనకి ఇలా జరుగుతుందనేసి మనం ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చెయ్యము. I have one question to ask you. ఇక్కడ one second.
And the thing here is, one day his mom went to someone's house to help someone's house, and that was the day extremely I felt like I died in the road. He took me to the downtown, and in return I was sitting in the front seat, and he's like, can you get out from this front seat and go back? He stopped in the middle of the road in the highway and pulled the car outside, and he made me to get out. I said, like, what's going on? He's like, okay, if you don't get out, I'll stop the car here, and I will leave the car here and go away. Means the thing here is, I guess a woman should not come into USA, or not only in this, any country with no friends or no relatives, I feel like, because I have none of the people. He made me stand in the middle of the road at night 12:30, and since I said, like, no, I don't want to get out, he's like, he drew me directly to the police station and parked in front of the police station parking lot, and he asked me, can you come inside the police station? And literally I cried and caught his legs there. Okay, can you leave me now? Can you leave me now? If you want me to go to India, I'll go away.
Okay, Amalu garu.
Because
I want to ask one question to Poonamji. You know, there is a question here, Poonamji, for you. There's a misconception in our community, right? Not to involve between wife and husband. How can we educate this community, you know? Because somebody has to involve, you know, because we are a silent observers. You know, we know something is wrong with that family. They don't have the compatibility. They're having some, I mean, you can see the body language between the wife and husband, right? You know, but still, people, they're hesitant to involve in any kind of scenario or anything. They don't come forward, first of all, to help them. So how can we educate? First of all, MANAVI. Looks like Amalu doesn't know anything about the MANAVI, you know? So
actually, Aruna Garu told me about MANAVI. She was like, and there was, in between, there was one or two girls, they misleaded me. The thing here is, actually in my husband's house office, there was one girl. She told, like, oh, I know some, I live in a state, that state has something like association, Telugu association. Okay. Only just for that state. Okay. Yeah, so if you,
Amalu,
okay.
So Poonamji, you have to reach out to the different associations in New Jersey to bring the awareness that you guys are there, so that you also grow along with the associations. It's not only the Telugu association. There's so many different languages, right? Everybody has their own association, right? So it's awareness. We had to bring it, you know. So we had to work towards to how to bring the awareness, how to involve the community. These are the important task, I would call it, you know. So how we can do it, you know. So I would request MANAVI to spread the word that you are there to help these kind of people, you know, like victims, not the people, victims who is suffering, you know. So they need your help. Yeah. Because like there's so many associations, but they have to know which department to which department they have to go. Who is going to, like Aruna, might be very few people who will help these kind of, you know, victims. They have to reach the right person. In Amulu's case, she was very lucky that she's reached out to Aruna.
Yes. Thank you, Geeta, for that question. So, you know, when it is a survivor, they can reach out to us, no doubt. The work that we have to do is continuous outreach, education, and awareness. The work that the community has to do is more or less the same: to provide support, to tell them the resources. And, you know, in our culture, there is an imposition of silence. Don't say anything. You know, this is something that we need to overcome, that it is okay to talk about it. It is okay to come up with a solution. Let's work together. The community is behind you. You know, MANAVI or another agency, wherever that may be, is with you. But, you know, as I have said before, it takes a village. And we also, this is where we are providing direct services, and the neighborhood watch concept comes up, where the community is there for the survivor. But it is also, when we talk about, long term, it is also, we must understand, how are we raising our children? How are we raising our boys? How are we raising our girls? And, the feminist movement, and, when you read Gloria Steinem and you read Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, they all talk about, yes, it's great that today we are raising our girls as boys, but how many of us have the courage to say that we are raising our boys as girls? Because men have the capacity to be nurturers. They have the capacity to be a good parent, to be a good husband, to be a good son. Till reading these feminists, I really do, I'm convinced that till they recognize the fact that, they can also raise children. It is not all about going outside and, being aggressive and doing the job. No, it is even at home, because our community, we put ourselves in the boxes of gender. A woman cooks and the man goes out, he's earning the money, he's the hunter, and you do the cooking. But then when you look around in the world, who are the famous chefs? They're all men. So, there's something very skewed here that, we need to ponder and look at. How are we raising our children? Why are we making our men so entitled? And we recently have received a grant where men as allies, because till men get involved, it's not going to change. We cannot just tell the woman, why are you going out at night? It's unsafe. But we need to tell the man, no, you do not do anything to the woman. So unless all that, there are so many issues that come together, and we can talk about it forever. But this is where the social changes will have to come in, because it's, we know, MANAVI knows that, we are helping the survivor, we're taking care of our legal stuff, medical, insurance, the whole bit. We are also just putting a Band-Aid. The real problem is, how are we raising our men? How are we raising our daughters to accept certain things? Why are we not empowering her more? Why are we not educating her so that she does not have to, depend on anyone? That a marriage is supposed to be equal. It's not like you cut it 50-50. No, it has to be equality in a fair sense of the word, or what is good for both. What equality works for both? So, we need to ponder more over, the gender issues here, because it's, in the end, it's about equality, empowerment for women. We have a long way to go. Things are changing, but of course we're not there yet, and the work continues.
Yeah, unfortunately, so there's so many women, they don't know how to reach out, actually, appropriately.
Yeah, that is the only problem I had, was like, frankly, since I'm inside the four walls, I don't know whom to reach, or like, frankly, I don't know if there is a NATS like this also. Until that learning madam was told me like, oh, no, there is NATS, you just, but all my sister told was just apna ghar, it's in my state. I could not even, like, all I was like emails only, I reached out to them. When I reached out to emails, they were like, oh no, you have to come to the office and meet us. And it's something like downtown, wherein I have to spend $200 to go and meet them and come. I'm like, oh no, I'm not going. Because main thing is, even I don't have any money to go anywhere, or like, frankly, I don't even have, if wherever I have to go, I have to walk and go.
But that makes you strong, the Amalu.
Yes.
Went through a lot.
Yes, Amma. Yeah, main thing is like,
yes.
I appreciate my father in this, because he is like, when I was flying from India to USA, he's like, whatever things happened, don't even ever sign on any blank paper. Any blank paper, don't even sign on any blank paper. If they are killing you, then we will think of that. But just do me that favor in your life. Like, don't even sign any blank papers. You can fight with them, whatever things it is. And we already know, like, her mother is not a good person. My father knows that I will go bad stage, but not in this extreme bad stage. Means in one fine day, he was like, at night, 1 o'clock, as per our timings, it will be India. He'll be getting afraid, like, okay, why my daughter is calling at night, 1 o'clock there? Obviously, she has to go to sleep. And he's like, okay, now what do you want me to do? He's harassing me. I can't take it. He's harassing me. I can't take it. What do you want me to do? Shall I sign the papers? Shall I sign? Because he made an agreement and he's asking me to sign the papers and he wants me to drop in there.
బట్ ఎనీవే అమ్ములు గారు ఇప్పుడు మీ ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ అన్ని సాల్వ్ అయ్యాయి. యు ఆర్ ఇన్ ఎ పొజిషన్ టు హెల్ప్ సంబడి ఎల్స్. వాచ్ అవుట్, ఇన్ యువర్ కమ్యూనిటీ, ఇన్ యువర్ సరౌండింగ్స్, ఇఫ్ ఎనీబడి ఇస్ సఫరింగ్, దట్ మీరు ఒక ఎగ్జాంపుల్ కాబట్టి మీరు కూడాను వాళ్ళకి మీకు సాధ్యమైనంత వరకు మీరు చేయూతనివ్వాలి వాళ్ళకి. ఇది మీ మనసులో మీకు ఈ మనసులోంచి ఇది పోదు, మీరు అనుభవించినది ఎప్పుడు పోదు. కానీ
లైఫ్ లో అది ఎప్పుడు
కానీ అదృష్టం
హ్యాపీ ఎండింగ్. వర్స్ట్ థింగ్ ఇస్ even my mom don't know till date that I am divorced, because she is a diabetes. I don't want her to keep thinking in the late of the night about myself. I want her happy life, like, to keep going and a happy ending too. I don't want my mom to think about me and screw her life.
అమలు గారు ఇప్పుడు చెప్తాను నేను, ఇదంతా అయిపోయింది కదా, నౌ యువర్ అప్లైడ్ ఫర్ ద సిటిజన్షిప్ ఆల్సో. అందుకనేసి ఇప్పుడు మీకు ఏంటంటే మీకు ఇప్పుడు ఉజ్వల భవిష్యత్తు ఉంది. ఓకే, మీకు ఇప్పుడు ఫ్యూచర్ ఇట్స్ ఇన్ యువర్ హ్యాండ్స్. యూ క్రియేట్ యువర్ ఓన్ ఫ్యూచర్ నౌ. ఎందుకంటే మీ గతాన్ని మర్చిపోద్దు, కానీ ఆ గతంలోంచి ఆ చీకటిని మీరు ఉపయోగించుకొని ముందుకు నడవండి. ఓకే, ఎందుకంటే మనకు కూడా టైం కావస్తుంది, ఇంకా వీ హ్యావ్ టు ర్యాప్ అప్. అందుకనేసి థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్ ఫర్ షేరింగ్ యువర్ స్టోరీ విత్ అస్, అండ్ థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్ పూనంజీ ఫర్ కమింగ్ అవుట్, అండ్ అరుణ. అండ్ ఇప్పుడు ఏంటంటే ఐఎమ్ గోయింగ్ టు హ్యాండ్ ఓవర్ ఇట్ టు లక్ష్మీ బుజ్జా గారికి, బికాస్ షీఈస్ గోయింగ్ టు అనౌన్స్ సమ్ ఫ్యూచర్ ప్రోగ్రామ్స్ ఏమున్నాయో నాట్స్ ద్వారా. దాని తర్వాత జ్యోతి వనం గారేమో ఓట్ ఆఫ్ థ్యాంక్స్ చెప్తారు. ఓకే
అమ్మా, థ్యాంక్స్ అమ్మా. థ్యాంక్ యూ అమ్మా. అరుణమ్మ, నేను మీతో మళ్ళీ మాట్లాడతానమ్మా. థ్యాంక్స్ అమ్మా.
ఓకే
బాయ్ అమ్మా. Bye, Amma.
Geeta, I just want to say one word before I leave to Poonam. Myself, I saved 2 ladies from the husbands through NATS and through MANAVI. They really helped with the attorney and they recommended. Those 2 girls are doing very well now. One is in California and one is in New Jersey. But they called NATS helpline and they directed me because I live in close their towns. But MANAVI immediately helped them. They both are doing very good now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Asha. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
So,
Garu, for handing over to me. First, I would like to thank Poonam ji for giving us so much information. And one request is it would be even more helpful if MANAVI can be MANAVI's awareness can be passed over to other all organizations, because I was not aware of this till Aruna garu brought it to all the NATS members. Today we learned a lot of information and we'll try to share this information to other organizations, but request you also to reach out to other organizations. There are a lot of organizations in all these cities, local organizations which are directly in contact with local families, and I don't think they are aware of these programs, and it will be very helpful if they are aware of these. I mean, they can help someone else. And thank you so much for joining us today, and thanks all the members also for staying with us. So this is a first episode in many more to come in this women's empowerment program. So we are NATS women team is planning more programs like this
wherein we can give more information regarding financial education, taxation, women health, parenting help. Like nowadays, a lot of after COVID, kids having a lot of anxiety issues, or how to handle bullying or social and emotional support. So we'll be bringing up a lot of these programs, just like we invited Poonam Garu here to give us information regarding helping out other women in trouble. So we'll be bringing more programs to all the women, so that they can help themselves and they can reach out to get more information through these programs. That will be all from my side. Thank you.
All right. ఇప్పుడు జ్యోతి గారు మీరు vote of thanks చెప్తారా? Good night, Jyoti garu.
Sure, Geeta garu. So it's like we are going in a journey right now. We are all connected, listening to Amulu garu. Very nice of her, kind of her. She is brave. I see that braveness and the success that she ended up. So happy to see that where she started, how she got the help, and she was able to survive and came to speak her story to motivate many women. It's like even empowerment. We are conducting this show, but we got empowered listening to her story, where she started and where is she now through the system and the people like MANAVI. I really appreciate Poonam garu to take your time coming forward, sharing your information and insights on this NATS stage. And I really appreciate our NATS. I'm very happy to be part of this wonderful organization who is always do great events to encourage our culture, literacy, and more of community service activities. As part of that, we are able to conduct this wonderful empowerment series of sessions. And today is our first session to start with MANAVI. And I really appreciate Bindu Garu for coordinating all the team members and connecting the dots to really share your information and thoughts, so that Poonam Garu is able to answer all our concerns and the questions, and the chat people are also putting their questions. You did an amazing job, Geeta Garu. Thank you so very much for your time as well. And I would like to say thank you to our President, Sridhar Appasani Garu, and Chairman Vijay Shekhar Anne Garu, and also our NATS web volunteer Garu, Sudhir Mikilneni Garu, who helped us to have this flawless common event that we are having online, so that all the people around the world globally are able to watch and participate. And our team members, the volunteers, all the women fellow volunteers, Lakshmi Bojja Garu, Padmaja Nannapneni Garu, Geeta Gollapudi Garu, Asha Garu, and all the invisible and who are not here with us, but whose cooperation and support, all the NATS volunteers across the country is able to help us to make this kind of wonderful events to make a difference in the community. So, Iroju, Poonamji, I just tried to convey few things. I'm trying to, Telugu, being Telugu organization, I wanted to add some more in Telugu. So, emotional ga chuste, ikkada manam emi cheyaledanడి. We just shared, there is some organization, MANAVI. There are people like Amulu who can take help, who took the help, and volunteers like Aruna Garu or people are there to help. But at the right time, a person, if everything is available so easily, why one can suffer? Not knowing that one simple information, that this kind of hope or help is there to rescue a life at the time that is needed, is more valuable. That is what today we are doing our effort. చేస్తున్నాం చిన్న ప్రయత్నం. ఆ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఒక్క మానవి కాదండి, మానవి లాంటివి ఎన్నో ఉన్నాయి ప్రపంచంలో. అరుణ గారు కాదు, నాట్స్ కాదు, ఎన్నో సంస్థలు, ఎంతో మంది ఉన్నారు. కానీ నిజంగా ఒక అమ్మాయికి కానీ, ఒక ఆడపిల్లకి కానీ, ఆ టైంలో కావాల్సిన హెల్ప్ కావాల్సిన ఒక ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ హ్యాండీగా ఇవ్వగలగడం అనేది ఈజ్ వాట్ వీఆర్ ట్రయింగ్ టుడే అండి. అది ఒక్క మనిషికి చేరిన, ఒక జీవితాన్ని నిలబెట్టిన మనం ఏమంటారు, మన ధన్యం. అది ఒక్కరిగా చేయలేమండి, ఒక సంస్థ కావాలి. దట్ ఈస్ వేర్ టుడే వీఆర్ సెట్టింగ్ దిస్ గ్రౌండ్ representing our organization. I'm so thankful to be able to do this kind of awareness and empowerment programs for the women across the world, and really appreciate to be part of this. And థ్యాంక్ యూ. అండ్ అందరికీ ధన్యవాదాలండి. ఈ ప్రోగ్రాంలో చాలా సెన్సిటివ్ ప్రోగ్రామ్, అందరూ వచ్చి షేర్ చేసుకుని ఉండకపోవచ్చు. బట్ ఎనీ టైం మీకు ఎలాంటి క్వశ్చన్స్ ఉన్నా natsworld.org ఉందండి. యూ కెన్ రీచ్ NATS హెల్ప్ లైన్ 24/7 ఎనీ టైమ్, ఎనీ కైండ్ ఆఫ్, అంటే మనకి ఏదైనా ప్రాబ్లం వస్తే హెల్త్ రీజన్స్ వి నో డాక్టర్ దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళొచ్చు. ఇలాంటి ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ వస్తే ఎక్కడికి వెళ్ళాలో తెలియదండి. జస్ట్ మేక్ ఎ కాల్, వి జస్ట్ ప్రొవైడ్ ద ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్. మీకు ఏం కావాలో ఏ రకంగానైనా గైడ్ చేస్తాము. దట్ ఈస్ వేర్ వీఆర్ దేర్. థ్యాంక్ యూ ఫర్ బీయింగ్ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ వండర్ఫుల్ ఈవెంట్. నమస్కారం.
Thank you so much everyone, Poonam ji, and thank you Aruna for giving me this opportunity. And వెళ్తూ చెప్తాను, నేను బాధపడుతూ జీవించినా, జీవిస్తూ బాధపడినా కోల్పోయేది మన జీవితమే. జీవితంలో బాధపడుతూ ఉండకుండా ఒక మంచి పాఠం నేర్చుకున్నామని ముందుకు సాగడమే మన పని, అంతే. దట్స్ ఆల్. అంటే ఎవరైతే సఫర్ అవుతున్నారో, సఫర్ అయ్యి దానిలోంచి బయటపడిన వాళ్ళకి మాత్రం ఒక హోప్ క్రియేట్ చేద్దాం మనం, అంతే. దట్స్ ఆల్. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్. అండ్ ఇది కంటిన్యూ అవుతుందని ఆశిస్తున్నాను నేను. ఇది మంచి ఇనిషియేటివ్, అది ఎంపవర్మెంట్. అందరికీ రకరకాల టాపిక్స్ మీద అందరినీ మనం ఎడ్యుకేట్ చేయొచ్చు, అది. ఎనీవే, వన్స్ అగైన్ థ్యాంక్ యూ ఎవ్రీవన్. Aruna,
thank you all. I just want to say I didn't know much about NATS till today, and after I met Aruna, so it's a wonderful organization, and your guys are doing wonderful work, and thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of it.
Thank you. It's our pleasure. It's totally our pleasure. Thank you.
Have a good day. Thank you.